Hello, Sizzle Nation. Welcome to what we are calling the very first Sizzle Live event on Facebook Live. What a cool opportunity it is for me and for you to be here with us today. Now, for those of you that have been in our plant before, I know that your brains were blown. I mean, your heads were blown when that happened. And for those of you that haven't been in the plant before, prepare to have your head blown, because this is an amazing opportunity to walk into one of the most diversified plants in the entire world as it relates to all things sizzle and what we produce here. So I'm excited today because we're going to talk about what is the #1 product in the world, around the world, in every market that we have in Sizzle International. So we're going to find out a little bit about that today. I've got a great opportunity to grab Tom Mower Jr. today and bring him in. It's a great chance for me to have him give you a little bit more information, if you will, a little bit more detail behind it, because his brain is so science-based. He's got so much knowledge and so much information to impart. So you guys are going to have a great opportunity to have a chance to just speak with him and learn a little bit about it. So let's go ahead and go in now and start talking about it. So I'm going to take you into the plant. Now, of course, we always have to be careful because this is a live operating plant. So as we go in, you're going to see forklifts go by, you're going to see people walking past. So let's go see if we can track down Tom Jr. and see if we can't get him out here into the plant. Now, of course, we start at the science lab. Has anybody seen Tom Jr.? Hey, Tom. I need to do this to you, but I'm wondering if I can have you come help me with some information. So we'll get Tom Jr. in here. He's, of course, working on formulas with our Chief Formulation Officer. Maybe you could drop the lab coat and we could walk out. But at any rate, folks, you're going to hear about a product that we have literally been researching and developing for the last number of years. You know, back in 1988, Tom Mower Sr. was introduced to an ingredient that he was absolutely amazed by. His energy level, his ability to jump out of bed in the morning, the benefits of it. But the problem was it was so expensive that it was almost impossible for the average person to be able to consume. So when we think about that ingredient, for about, what now, almost 30 years, Tom Mower Sr. has literally been going around the world trying to find this ingredient to give it to the average person for about $50 a month. The issue that he ran into was that it was about $300 or $400 a month for the average person to consume. Well, who can afford that? So Tom Sr. said, I'm going to come up with a way to be able to help people have this ingredient in their lives at a dose that will actually help them biologically and give them what they need. So Tom, I'm glad you joined me today because we're going to walk in to where it all begins, which is the spray dryer.
Well, Aaron, you're right. The first thing was more like a scene off of CSI. It was a mystery. What was this ingredient? We had texts from thousands of years ago going back to China. What is it? Because they had the study, they had the old names for it, we had to identify it. So we spent about a 10-year process going through to identify what it was. Once we found out what it was, then we had to go and find modern science to validate what it was doing. But what we did know, the proof of the eating was in the pudding, as Tom always talks about, and it was dynamic. And so once we figured out what this was, we found out that to have it done, or where it was done, it was $300, $400, $500 a month for someone to consume. So you had less than 1% of the people who wanted to consume it, who could consume it. Well, once we got into the research, we found out, like everything, when we built this facility, as you know, we've done a lot of contract manufacturing, and two things happen. The road splits when you get into contract manufacturing. You have a very small handful of people who are looking for efficacious products like Sizzle, and you're looking for the major retailers who want price and label and what's being said on television. And so with that in mind, what our mission has always been is we want the most efficacious products where people can get a biological response. What you see here is part of that response. Maybe it's an emotional reaction, but the nice thing about it, it worked.
And it was about, if I remember correctly, about a $3 or $3.5 million line that had to be built and set up in this portion of the facility in order to produce this product that we're able to bring to our distributors and customers.
And you're exactly right. We're not talking about the millions prior to the years of dedication of research and trips to China and talking to scientists. Once we figured out this missing code and what these ingredients were and how to process them, then at that point it was only a $3.5 million investment.
Yeah. And that was before we had a distributor or a customer or anybody to consume it, but that was the investment that you and your father made in order to say, we know the value of this ingredient.
But we knew it would work because it worked.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't like, do we invest $3.5 million? We knew it worked.
Yeah,
we just had to make it unique, the most effective, and that's why we have this product and this process patented. Nobody in the world has what we have. So to go out there and say, we're the only one with the Secretariat in the Kentucky Derby, who would pay for that? Anybody pay $3.5 million. And that's really what we have. So what you see here is only a piece of the puzzle to make a patented product that gives you the biological and the physical effects that you're looking for. And I won't get into all of the science today, but what we did in a nutshell, we found out that it was not just the seaweed. It was a component of the seaweed. Seaweed itself only has about 3% solids in it. So the rest just goes up into the air. And that's what you see here. To get to our patented process, we have to condense it down. Besides going through over 40 different genuses to find which one has the most varied types of FuCoydon molecules, we have to go through and make sure we have the smallest sizes and the most varied. And so we reduce it in here in the spray dryer. And so if you look at these little yellow heads right here, once we've gone through the other rooms, which we won't go through today, we process it from these large 75-pound blocks of, they look like eyes, frozen. We actually start from the very beginning. We hire people to swim to the bottom of the ocean. If you think about the pearl divers, well, these are seaweed divers, and they clip it off, and they bring it up, and then they immediately flash freeze it for us. Then they bring it over, and so it's quite expensive to bring over these containers of frozen seaweed and then store them here.
So let me ask you a question real quick on that note. Why Tonga?
Well, for obvious reasons. It has the right genus that we like because it has the most types of FuCoydons that science has validated that have beneficial effects for us. Plus, we're looking for the most pristine environment that we can get because we know the sea is full of toxins. And this area has the genus and has the environment that is conducive to making a product that fits the bill for the Mower mission.
And far off shipping lanes and everything else, so it's a little bit off the beaten path, right?
From a business standpoint, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And there's no infrastructure there. And I don't even have McDonald's there. But
I think they do now.
They probably do.
But so at any rate, so we bring the blocks in, we put them in the pulverizer, it literally just breaks down all that material and sends them in here. Why does it have to go into the spray dryer?
Well, because number one, nobody's going to do what we need done to our product. So we built this specifically. This started out as a basic spray dryer, and then we have gone through and we've added this huge pump right here. In fact, Aaron, if you'll blow on this hose right here, okay, that won't work because we need about 20,000 psi when we have these molecules that we have pulverized to come through in those small yellow heads that you see on the side. We have to mist it out. And then with low, I mean high, but low temperature, not to destroy anything, we mist it in this huge chamber that you see right here. And what happens is it evaporates, 97% of it just goes off as moisture.
Yeah.
Then we concentrate the solids. In fact, if you're in here, you're going to think you're going on the Sizzle cruise because every now and then you'll hear a huge foghorn go off inside here. And it's the vibration from that sound that actually makes the dust that's accumulated on the sides fall off to the bottom, where we can scrape them over to an auger and place them in a barrel as the solid form of the FuCoydon molecule that we're looking for. But that's only step 2. We've harvested, we've shipped it here, we've got to that point. From that point, we go through our patented process of hydrolyzation and adding sulfate to it to make the molecules smaller, adding sulfur to it to make them much more effective.
Well, and that efficacious process is part of the patented process that we talk about. So when, Tom, you talk about the fact that nobody can have what we have, nobody can produce what we have, we've got our patents on the production process. from the start to the finish of what we consider to be the product of all products. Now the great thing is that when we look at the spray dryer, again, like you said, that's just one of the parts of the process.
Yeah.
Then it has to go through the process of getting into the plant and going through what we consider to be the batching and the filling and the blending and all of the other things, which is why you and your father have built this amazing facility, 400,000 square feet, manufacturing, probably what I would say is one of the diverse.
It is the most diverse in the western side of America. West of the Mississippi, nobody does encapsulation and powdered mill replacements and sachets and liquid sachets, hot beverage filling, personal care, shampoos, lotions, and the list goes on.
Cafe?
Why not? We have a roaster. We can do all these things. Everything was designed with one thing in mind, and that is to promote and to supply the Mower mission, which is sizzle. It's embodied in sizzle. And so we know we have the winning lottery number. And we knew we had it with FuCoydon, and that's why it is the #1 product we have in sizzle, and we continue.
Yeah.
But the key point was to make it affordable for people. People can't spend $400 a month, but can they spend 50 to 70? Absolutely. Especially when you see the benefits, and if you get on PubMed and you look at what scientists are doing, they are truly amazed. And so more and more money goes into research. But it all started with a trip to China, looking at texts that were thousands of years old. And one thing about the Chinese, they had their own version of testing, and they tested things on thousands of people and documented what the results were. With that in mind, and then trying these unique formulations, we've invested millions of dollars over the years, and guess what? We haven't been wrong. As it goes around the world, people are seeing the results.
Well, they are. And you know what? The one thing that I will tell you, folks, is that when you think about this ingredient base itself and the formulation that they've created, one of the things that I love about the manufacturing facility, and I remember when I first met you and your father, is that you said, I don't want anybody touching my products from the time the ingredients land on our docks until the time it actually lands on your doorstep. It's our product. It's sizzle manufactured product. And one of the things that goes into that is that when we look at this incredible formulation itself, we know that they've controlled it from the time it leaves Tonga until the time it hits your doorstep. Nobody can have something like this. The support that it has, the functional support that it has in terms of so many different levels, anti-inflammatory, stem cell signaling, cellular regeneration, boosting the immune system by 400% in only maybe 7 days. Can you imagine what that can do for the human body in terms of a support beverage that literally is formulated right here in Sizzle International? So from that standpoint, I absolutely love it. I love being a part of this mission. I love the fact that we have so many great products that, like you said, deal with the Mower mission, deal with everything that we consider to be safe for the body, safe for the environment, safe for our families, you know, safe for those people. You see so many issues right now with Johnson & Johnson and other people that are having so many problems. What a great opportunity it is for us to scream from the rooftops that we have the products that they can rely on. When it says sizzle on it, you can trust the science, you can trust sizzle. So from that standpoint, Tom, thanks for popping out of the lab.
I'm going to go back in there and get back to work because we're working on the next types of FuCoydon and dynamic products. Thank you so much.
Folks, here's the product. Let me grab it. We've got the FuCoydon product right here. You can get it out of your back office. You can, of course, get it from a distributor. As a customer, you can go online, sizzleinternational.com. It's a real simple process, but get with the person that invited you to this Facebook Live event today. Again, our first one, so maybe a little clunky, but the fact is that's how they're supposed to be. We just want to make it informal and let you guys know this is a product that you need to be on every day for the rest of your life. Tom, thanks so much.
You bet.
Appreciate it.